There we go. So I can always like upload it. So especially the second part is very important about how to become a travel journalist. All right, we'll start slowly to share the slides. Also, if I go too fast, too slow, let me please know. All right, perfect. Yes, of course, no worries. I'll record it because it's always good to like watch it back. Actually, the next classes I will just do in one row. I think the 90 minutes, and then still everyone gets the opportunity to go out for 5-10 minutes to get some coffee, go to the toilet, but that we don't cut off because I think it can be sometimes a bit difficult to hop in again on the call to find the link maybe. And the next sessions actually every Sunday at 8 p.m. Amsterdam time zone. We will also have different topics. So we will dive a bit deeper in it. And I will also try to make it a bit more practical so you can get assignments, so you can get your work published as well. Because I know a lot of like outlets. I did a lot of like networking, so I can also help you out to get, for example, and write like an article for like a digital nomad magazine, for example, like some smaller media outlets to start with. But I was also able to network with some bigger ones as well, like National Geographic, for example. So I hope we can also like provide like some opportunities with that. However, that's also like a big medium, so it's not always easy to get published there. Okay, we can start. All right. There we go. I hope you can all see it, right? The screen. I'll just like share it like this. Here we moved through it. All the pictures. We go to the assignment. So I'm very curious about you. Like, does anyone know like what's the difference between a travel journalist, a travel writer, travel blogger, and travel influencer? Would like someone to share it, the answer. Like, what's the difference? Does anyone know? I think everyone's still sipping on the tea or coffee. You can also write it in the chat. That's also fine. So the difference, like who's actually like, what's the difference between, for example, a travel blogger and a travel journalist? I can share a little bit the answer, or someone wants to write it in the chat. That's also fine.
I will tell you some
Yeah, sure.
uh, my opinion. Travel influence is the one. Do you hear me?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I can hear you.
Yes. Travel influencer is the one whose opinion is very prominent and important for the audience. So it
Mm-hmm.
is like the image maker in the travel industry.
Mm-hmm.
Travel journalist is a professional writer in the travel industry who can write professionally articles, reports
Mm-hmm.
um, with their qualification. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Travel writer, it's not like a professional, but still like a travel lover who writes about his own experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
travel blogger is like the one um, who has community of the people, followers, and he is a little bit similar to the travel influencer because he writes his text according to the technical task and shooting videos about travel objects, about travel, maybe sightseeing attractions, hotels, different in the travel
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
industry. And it's not like a professional travel journalism who is following the professional criteria, but travel blogger is like something different, like
I really like your answer. It's very good. You really like thought good about it because it's actually a very difficult one because nowadays a lot of them overlap as well because a lot of like travel media outlets, even like professional ones like National Geographic, they also go a little bit into for example, travel influencer, right? They have like an Instagram page. They also try to influence their audience. They try to do also a bit of travel blogging as well, or sometimes to even like there were situations where like some readers that wrote for them as well. And the travel writer can be also like writing like the travel guides. So it overlaps a lot, but I think your answer is very well actually. A travel journalist is more focused on reporting, on sources. He fact checks everything. So for example, if you go give like an example, you go to the Amazon jungle, you document like about a local tribe that takes water from the river that's poisoned by a fabric, right? Then you need to really check your facts well, right? Because there are a lot of YouTubers actually, like people that take videos on YouTube, and they go there, they don't check everything, and it can harm a lot a company as well, right? Because it's not always like that the company has its fault, right? Sometimes it can be something happening out of yeah, like they don't know about it, or it was just not true, or like fake news basically. That can also happen, right? So that's why it's important as a travel journalist that we really check everything well and do our research, because yeah, we can like damage companies and individuals as well, right? So people can really like lose their jobs, for example. So that's why we have a very important profession with that, because especially if you have a big audience that you write for, you can really like harm some people with your storytelling. And of course, it can be also like you can write also positive things like about the travel destination, right? But imagine you write something very optimistic about like going somewhere, right? And suddenly the truth is that after like your hotel review, maybe it was not true that the hotel did like bad things, for example, right? So it's always good to check. I see like a hand from someone.
Yes, from me, Floortje.
Hi, Florja.
Um, I will, yeah. I had the question, how do you do research in a country that you do not speak the language of?
So that's a very good question. So that's actually like you need to think about yeah, a couple of things, right? So most important thing, in my opinion, is just starting to read about the country in your own language, watch videos, read about it. You can use Google Translate, you can use ChatGPT for like translating the content as well. That's what I did in the beginning when I didn't know Spanish. I did that basically, like translating. Um, but in my opinion, like the best way, if you go, for example, to a country where it's very difficult to like learn the language, understand the people. Let's say I give example like to Japan, for example, for me it was very difficult to communicate with the people. Then it's good to have a contact person. So basically, someone that speaks your language, speaks the local language, and then the person is like a bridge, right? You can hire this person to be like your guide, or it's just maybe a contact person that you know, and it will help you not only with communication and translating during an interview, for example, but also like with intercultural communication and the intercultural sensitivity, because sometimes you can even speak the language, but the customs are different. Like in Japan, you take a visit card with two hands. You're a bit more polite during conversations. In the Netherlands, for example, like Flört, you know, maybe we are like more direct, for example, in our own country. But in
Yeah,
Thailand, they are, for example, very direct. So
but
yeah,
they
it's
talk
mhm.
around things.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah,
when
yeah.
asking questions, how do you need to ask your questions? Do you need to ask your
Mhm.
questions differently?
I think it depends a lot. Like, personally, I always adapt to like the person like abroad. So if I see I will speak with a Japanese person, and let's say he represents like an important company, I know in the Japanese culture it's not that well to ask directly like a critical question. In the Dutch culture, we are very used to like ask directly what we want to know. But it's possible they will cut off the conversation, then you lose your interview, right?
Yeah.
So it's always good to like adapt, I would say, to the local culture. Even like on professional levels, it's sometimes that they already have their media training as well. So it's sometimes they also adapted to the Western culture in that case when you compare to Netherlands. Um, but yeah, also like in India, for example, I know it's very common to take a bit slower the time. So first, maybe you talk about the weather, then you drink a cup of tea, you will eat something, and then you start a bit with the small talk, and then you move to a bit more like more serious questions, for example, right? And in the Netherlands, also from very interesting, I know like some of, for example, from Peru, if you go to the Netherlands, if you go a lot around, it's maybe possible that people will think, oh, why this journalist does ask only indirect like questions, right? So then it's good to know you need to be a bit more direct and more on time, for example, right? You need always to be on time. Maybe you have an interview, and when you say like, okay, the person says I have only 20 minutes, and then they say, okay, I have another meeting, right? I know, for example, in Peru, it's very common then, oh, okay, if it's longer than those 20 minutes, even if it's like 40 minutes, it's usually all right, for example. But in the Netherlands, people are very strict with the time. So it's always good to know like these differences, and not only between like the countries, but also between different subcultures. So that means if you like interview like let's say like a local skateboarder, it's very normal that he uses a bit different codes, different dress codes. So it's always good to adapt a little bit as a travel journalist, just to smooth down a bit the conversation. That's at least what I did, and usually it worked well. However, you can also have sometimes the ethical dilemma, like how far do you go in, right, with blending in. So then it depends of you, right? How far you feel comfortable with that, right? By adapting to the other culture or like reality of a person. Because
Okay,
yes,
thank you for your answer.
yes, of course, of course. So here we have, yeah, like travel writers. I will just tell a little bit short. So basically travel blogger, you can imagine a person having like a travel blog, and especially giving informational travel blog posts about a destination and their personal opinion, like their travel experience. Travel writer can be like a travel guide book writer. So that's a bit more like, yeah, source based. Or it can be also like fiction, right? So it can be, let's say, like I can write like an ebook for children about like Igor in Thailand, for example, on the Elephant Island, right? So that's, for example, fiction. Or it can be non-fiction, for example, travel guides to food in Bangkok, in Thailand, right? So that's, for example, travel writing. And as travel journalists, we do that as well, right? Travel blogging and travel writing. So that's also totally fine, but it's good to know like the difference. Travel journalists, yeah, explained that it's more like source-based reporting. And travel influencers usually like to try to influence the people to visit a specific destination or to try a specific activity. So usually we make things more beautiful than it is, right? That's why tourist brands love to work with travel influencers. Okay, so I personally did like all four of them in general. So I did also like collabs with hotels, ecolodges, publications as a travel journalist, like writing like a travel guide, fiction as well, and travel blogging to rank higher on Google, to put like blog posts out there. Okay, so now an important question, like how to become a travel journalist. So maybe some of you are already a travel journalist or a journalist. The question is, how do you become one? So of course, it's like recommended to follow a study, like Florci shared, for example, right? Like we are actually studied at the same school. It helps a lot because you have like experts that will like teach you. You can make a lot of mistakes as well to learn from it. And yeah, it helps if you get like a certificate, and especially the network. I think this one is very important, to have a network, because that's how you can collaborate, for example, write together, maybe like an article, go together on a press trip, for example. And also joining like journalist platforms helps a lot. There's also like a platform, I will share it also maybe in the platform that I have, like Trust Media. So that's actually a platform where you can also like publish your work. You can connect with tourist brands. You have also like, for example, in Netherlands, we have organization NVA. You can get like a press card, especially if you go to conflict zones. Or maybe if you report somewhere abroad where you have like a climate situation or war situation. Further, it's important to have portfolio. I would recommend starting like your own website or maybe a travel blog where you can publish about like maybe your destination or maybe a specific niche topic. And of course, I see a question from someone.
And I make a question, yeah, about this, related with your experience.
Mm-hmm.
When you used to go to some other places, city communities, and it's new for you, you used to present as a journalist, or you used to have like different strategies to take the information. And also, for example, I have a international press carnet that I think that I will going to use when I begin to travel. But also I am thinking, and other people said me, that sometimes when you get into some countries, it's going to be like a little dangerous to use it to get into the countries. And if preferably not get into a visa as a journalist to the
Yeah,
country.
so that's actually a very good question. So in general, like of course, if you work for like a big media outlet, they can provide you like help you with all the paperwork and everything to visit like for example, a country where there's a politically unstable situation or maybe even like a war, right? So it's also, as travel journalists, there are also some like war reporters, for example, or political journalists that do more investigative journalists. So especially if you go to countries like with governments that don't like journalists, they need to think about like, okay, or you need to get the right paperwork, and your media will help you, or you go, we call it also undercover, right? And especially if you are like a one army, how do you call it, like one army man, for example, right? So if you go solo, let's say, I personally like, I always go on a tourist visa, for example. So I don't get like a press card because I don't like shoot content about political situations, for example. So with that, you need to be careful. It helps to have a press card. However, I do also like research as well, a bit of investigation, and I always try to be a little bit underground. I just don't tell to like official people that I'm like a journalist, right, at the airport, for example, because it can make the process more difficult, because you go there for work and maybe you need even to declare taxes. They will ask you more questions. They maybe will not let you inside the country. So it really depends of your situation. Are you like a freelance journalist, or you work for a media outlet? Are you going to a war zone or a stable, normal country? So it's always, you just need to feel it for your own situation. Because nowadays you can say everyone goes into a country, everyone has like a phone, they can make a picture, they can write a story on Instagram, right? So you can say that everyone is a little bit like, everyone has like the resources that we have, right? So the gadgets to capture stories. And you also don't like declare, right, like your phone, even if you capture something that's happening wrong. So it depends, of your situation. Further, like it's also good if you want to become a travel journalist to make like a roadmap for yourself. For example, okay, I will first like study, get certificates, go abroad to make my first stories, for example, create a portfolio, and then, for example, pitch, right? Or even like switch it up a bit. You can, of course, even start directly to pitch, get into an editorial team and start to make basically to get more knowledge and experience inside the team. So it all depends of you. So what are examples of travel journalism? So this is like maybe an interesting one. So what do we make, right? So it can be in-depth reportage, it can be like an interview with someone, news article. So I think especially like if you go, for example, to a country and you document like a story from someone running an eco lodge, or like someone in the mountains that's working as a tour guide on a high altitude. I think, yeah, for local authorities, it's usually not a problem. It's only good that people promote their country. But let's say if you make a news article about a protest in Laos, for example, or Cambodia, then of course you can get some problems with the local authorities. So it's always good to have your paperwork and have, let's say, backup from your media company. So it really depends of your project. Yeah, photography essays, investigative piece, travel guide feature, like Lonely Planet, for example, review, right? You can review a hotel, opinion, you can talk about like your opinion when you visit like a place. It can be also like critical or very optimistic. And video documentary, right? So it can be also a bit like Vice or from National Geographic, basically like documenting the local culture or wildlife. That's a bit like what kind of different articles or like content you can make as a travel journalist. But don't get me wrong, also it's very normal that you like will write travel blogs, even for like a media company, maybe even like shoot reels, like short videos like with your phone. Maybe you need to also do a bit of social media marketing. So nowadays it kind of comes a lot together because the traditional media overlaps with the online and new media basically. So you can say like a lot of work. It's also possible you would do like similar even to a travel blogger, or like sometimes even a bit of as a travel influencer as well. Okay, so here we see like the process of becoming a travel journalist. So you can see a little bit step by step how to achieve it. So of course, like you learn first the skills from like how to use like your camera, or for example, if you're also like, for example, like a microphone, right? Like light, good light, how to record with a voice recorder, or even like with your phone. And there's a lot of skills, right? And it depends also like for which media you want to work. For example, on my school, I learned like cross media. That means you learn everything from like video to presenting to writing to radio, and then you choose a specialization. But you can also choose only writing, for example, or only video or audio. So it depends of you. But also a bit the media and tourist business to understand how ads work, advertising, how do they finance their projects. Like, for example, you can apply National Geographic for a grant, for example, that you can go somewhere abroad and they will pay you for your project, for your investigative project. Further, we have like, you get experience, and I call that story hunting. You just go out there, try to capture stories, of course, with pre-trip research. So it can be like internships, it can be events that you document, right? It's good to journalist organizations because you can find like some freelance work as well. Inside the platform, we also like publish. I always try to find different like freelance projects or like job opportunities around the globe, and I also post it inside our platform, so you can always like apply. Then we have built a portfolio. So that's very important if you're a beginner, to build like a travel blog, like a website, YouTube channel. If you're into filmmaking or a podcast, it helps a lot that you can like show yourself, like your face, like to the media, and it's sometimes possible they will reach out to you for work as well. So I had a couple of times that situation, companies paid me to like add, for example, like links to a blog or to write something for them. So that happens also. And pitching as well. So that's the last step. So it's basically trying to reach out to the media and pitch your story. So that's a bit the process. First, the skills, experience, building a portfolio, and trying to connect with the media. So here you can see like top 10 travel magazines that, for example, look for writers. So maybe National Geographic, you know, they have a lot of applications. So if you write in English, you can like try in Canada, UK, US, Australia. So it's actually very nice because you have like access to more offices of National Geographic. I think their main office is in Washington. I think they have a museum as well. You have Metador Network, World Nomads, like about the digital nomad industry, Afar, and a lot of other magazines as well. So there are like hundreds of magazines or thousands even, but those are kind of the most common ones. And I investigated a bit, and most of them like offer jobs. Sometimes it can change up a bit, but in general, you have the opportunities to apply there. So yeah, but at the end of the session, I would love to tell a bit about the travel journalist master program. So it's like a 1-year program, and basically what we'll do, we will meet up weekly, every time like on a Sunday, 8 p.m. And the idea is to learn every time something about travel journalists. So this month we focus on ethical travel journalism. So that's our topic. With other months, it can be also like how to use AI as a travel journalist, SEO blogging, travel writing to write your own travel guide or ebook, about travel vlogging with confidence. How do you present yourself in front of the camera? So you have every time like different like projects. And at the end, you get also the opportunity to choose your own destination. So you can choose like a country or even a neighborhood that you're interested in. You can go there, travel, and make your piece of content. So it can be one of these ones, for example. It can be like a photography essay. It can be a news article from an event, in-depth reportage, video documentary. And if you find out another idea, something that you're interested in, you can just also let me know. So that's basically the final project. So we'll just go abroad. First, you do pre-trip research. We will also help you during like the master classes to work on it. And it's always good to even start even from today, like, yeah, which country you would like to visit and what piece of content would you like to make for your portfolio. And later we will like check it, you'll get feedback, we will correct it. And you will also then get at the end of the year like a certificate of participation. So you also have then a certificate that you can show to like your employers. You can put it on your website. You have your publication as well. And inside the platform, you can also like get feedback from like fellow students. Here you can see like actually on the picture, like on this one, I did like workshop, for example, about travel blogging. So I did some live workshops as well in Lima. So I went there for like 6 months to get like contacts like with travel media, but also like with tourist companies. So also like the plan is to go in 2026. We'll choose like a date and see if a small amount of students want to go together for like a trip. And the idea is to choose like or the sacred valley of the Incas, like Ollantaytambo, like a village in Peru. So we'll go there for 10 days and we will do story hunting. We will go with a local expert that will teach you also how to use your camera. So you will get like the theory, right, this year, and you can also like directly use it in practice. And then we go with the small groups. You can build a network, comment on each other's like work, give feedback, support each other. I think it's very valuable to not only make it like online, but also go out there story hunting like together and to learn from the experts as well and to really get into like a country, a place where you can really find authentic stories. And I think Peru is a great place for that. So that's a bit our idea to go to the Sacred Valley. And another option is also like the Amazon jungle. It's like an eco lodge, like in Iquitos. So we set it up, everything for like 2026, but also if you feel like you want to go, like, even if you want to go like next week, I can also like help you arrange like with the accommodation, with the right partners if you want to go there for your own story. Because the beautiful thing about this program is we meet up weekly online. So if you want to travel, if you want to go out there, even like for 1 year, like digital nomad lifestyle, then you have the opportunity with this program because we meet up online. But yeah, I added this story hunting expedition for people that really want to connect also like in real life. So I think it's also something very cool to look forward to. Like, yeah, here also like we meet up, for example, for the workshops, but then we will do more like outdoor, like really going out there to interview people and capture stories. And yeah, our main goal is, of course, to get published, to get your publications like this year. So we start even like from today. I think it's always good to just pitch, even if it's like guest blog, um, like a story about your travel. Like try to like publish as much as possible, even if it's just first for free and later for like small payments. But that's actually how you can get eventually into like an editorial team, start your own media company, or work as a freelancer. So pitching is very important. Like, of course, content creation is important. You need to have the skills, but also like pitching. So yeah, like that was it, like for today. And also like if you have like questions, like I will log in again and everyone can ask questions. You can like also like send me personal like questions on LinkedIn or like email. You can also like drop your email here maybe, or even better, I'll maybe drop my email. So if you have questions, you can always send it to me. I will send you this one. Let me check. All right. And here you can, oh yeah, I see a question. Yes, please.
I would like, yes, Igor. I would like to ask you, when we will go together, if I understood, to this expedition to Lima, Peru, which month? July, August?
Yes, I was thinking first to see like when everyone can, because we'll go with a small group. So we'll just see when everyone's like available. So I was thinking to go in around like 10 to 12 months. We need to see how it's possible with the schedule. And also, if you want to go earlier, I can also like arrange you like accommodation or anything like the collaborations with the tour guides or like with the hotels, because I made already there the network. But we will just need to discuss it during like the next master classes to see with how many people we are and if everyone also like available on that time to go. But you can think about like 10 to 12 months. So we'll go probably in the summertime. So you can think about July, August in
Yeah, because
2026. Yeah.
yeah, because we need to. Sorry, just I interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
No.
I need to. Yeah. Because I need to think over. Because I need also to find the flight because we don't have
Mm-hmm.
now even the maybe to Lima. To Lima, right? We will
Yes,
travel
yes,
to
yes.
Lima, right?
We'll go to Lima, and from
Mhm.
Lima we will move to Cusco. It's like a city in the mountains. So you would then need to take another flight from Lima, but you get the chance in Lima to enjoy a bit of Peruvian like ceviche, lomo saltado, try the gastronomy. It's also very cool to make some feature about the food. I've also there a connection like a chef in Callao, and he can also give like cooking lessons. So it's very cool for like making a nice story about him, for example. And yeah, and then we basically moved like to Cusco. We go directly to Ollantaytambo. It lies a little bit lower than Cusco to acclimatize from the high altitude. So that's the idea. And oh yeah, I see we have less than 1 minute. So sorry guys for like cutting off all the time. But we can
Okay,
use the
thank
same
you.
link. We can roll in. And for the next meetups, I will like put it like on 90 minutes so we don't have the interruption. So if you want, you can
Okay,
still
thank you.
like
Thank you so
hop
much.
on the call and I can explain a little bit more. I can also show you the platform. All right. I will just break. You can use all the same Zoom link, yes, for like the questions. So we can hop in again. And if you need to go or anything, no worries. Then you can also send me by private message, but I'll be still there. So, all right. See you soon. You can use the same link.